Inside Sports.
You got a Rolodex over there, Paul? What the heck is going on at your house?
What? What do you mean?
Do you have that like 4th grade mouse with the ball in it still? Like, can we?
Is that what you hear?
That's what
You
I
hear that? So behind my doors, my house was built in 1981. So they have the springs behind the door that are the door stoppers, and I have a 10-month-old apparently that's on the floor in the room above me. So that's what that is.
Yes.
Didn't know you could hear that.
That's phenomenal.
the things you learn.
That is phenomenal. I think we're good on the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here at Hashtag Sports for our Buffalo Bills versus New England Patriots preview. We got Daniel Galray's Apex, Buffalo Mafia, Paul Berg, Luis, Rick, Chad, Shiva's Gold, among others in the chat. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Before we get into any of the particulars of the episode, we did want to let you know that we are really, really close to meeting our goal for the Punt Foundation, Brian Moorman's Foundation for Children with Pediatric Cancer. We can't thank you enough for the Hashtag Heroes. So if you're a member of Hashtag's premium channel, obviously, you're one of the Hashtag Heroes, and all the super chats that get donated will be going to the Punt Foundation. We're almost at our goal, and we want to thank all of you for that. Obviously, Brian Moorman's Foundation, PUNT, standing for Persevere, Understand, Need, and Triumph. Second or third week in January, we are going to be presenting a check to the Punt Foundation, so we cannot be happier about that. But thank you for joining us for this preview. We haven't done one of these in a while, Paul. We're usually just all jacked up on Mountain Dew after the Buffalo Bills beat somebody. It's great to kind of take a step back and preview something that hasn't been done in such a long time for the Buffalo Bills in sweeping the New England Patriots. So obviously the Patriots sitting at 6-8 right now. The Buffalo Bills at 11-3. Buffalo Bills already clinched the division last week and got some help from a couple other teams as far as the seeding goes. I have a bunch of numbers in front of me. Paul has a bunch of numbers in front of him. We're going to try to give you guys some entertaining and enlightening statistics for tonight, but we can't thank you enough for coming on tonight. Paul, now that I'm done rambling, do you remember how to do these?
It's been a while.
All right, Aaron Lewis.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's, I know normally like with the schedule that we often have, we really are only doing things a couple days a week. So it's sometimes really tough to look down the road, especially when you don't know, injury reports. And now with COVID, you never know when a player is going to drop out. So we could cut an episode on Monday or Tuesday that we plan to air Thursday or Friday, and we just have to throw it in the trash bin. Luckily, we've always been able to avoid that. Like we really have over the years have been able to avoid losing episodes. But the Patriots put 20 guys as questionable on their injury report. So if that's not Billy B saying, come at me, boys. You figure it out. Come at me.
The injury report looks like a receipt from CVS.
That's right. Yeah.
What the heck is this thing? Packers are going to force us to win the last two games. John Marlowe coming in. Last I checked, they were winning. They were beating the Titans. So talk about a collapse by the Indianapolis Colts, who some people were kind of worried. With the seeding going on with the Buffalo Bills, you got the Browns, possibly the Ravens, you got the Dolphins, and the Indianapolis Colts. People were kind of worried about the Colts, but after surrendering that big of a lead to the Steelers, that was kind of a rough game to watch today. I was flipping back and forth. So
yeah, it was. I really, you're watching that game and you're like, man, the Steelers just look burnt. Man, they look
run down, don't they?
Yeah, they look bad. But they still were able to come. I mean, the Colts just couldn't figure it out. Second half. I mean, really, the end of the first half happened, and then the second half happened, and the Colts just couldn't figure it out. I don't know what it was. But they just couldn't figure it out, which is a shame. I mean, it should have been a good football game, and the score says it was a good football game, but it wasn't a good football game to watch. It was a train wreck.
It was.
It was a train wreck.
That was a hot mess inside a dumpster fire, inside a train wreck.
It was bad. It was bad football.
Thank you, Clayton, for drop a like. It gets kicked out to all the Buffalo Buffalo Bills Mafia and the hashtag Nation. So make sure that you do that after you guys subscribe. Rivers not looking good. Daniel Gower saying, yeah, the Rivers does not look good. So we're going for some particulars. But Josh Allen has been compared to, prior to this season, quite a bit to Cam Newton.
Oh.
And I know
Here we go.
Paul had something.
Here we go.
This is strap in and keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because this is going to be a heavyweight bout right now. But, initially prior to this season, he was compared to Cam Newton. A lot of people are saying the physical traits. He's a big guy. He can run. He can throw. He can do a bunch of different things for you. Obviously, the Carolina connection being something that a lot of people always draw, the comparisons to as well. Sean McDermott had a front row seat on how to game plan against Cam Newton for years. It was great. But, Paul has something that he would like to talk about as far as Cam Newton and Josh Allen go, which I think that's, we like to talk about stuff a little bit. And since they're playing the Patriots, it kind of makes sense.
It is apropos, right? It is apropos to talk about it now. First off, Cam Newton is beat. He's just physically, it's not, this isn't a good fit for him, right? Like we all, like here at Hashtag, we talked about Cam Newton ending up with the Patriots for a while before it happened. We're like, we know where this is going. Just get him in, just sign him already. Just sign him for nothing, because nobody just sign him. Let's get it over with. And there was always a theory, because, New England was always looking for the next great quarterback, right? Look at their drafts, right? They drafted Garoppolo. They drafted Ryan Mallett. Let's not forget Ryan Mallett was there.
Oh boy.
They were always looking for the next
Davey.
Right. Let's just get a shovel and dig up that name.
Okay, Jabron Hamden.
Davey.
You love bringing up Jabron Hamden.
Don't you dare besmirch the name of Jabron Hamden in this live stream. I will not stand for it.
You're not going to stand anyway after I put you through a table.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Oh my God.
I have to look at weight capacities on folding tables, and most of them say you must be at least 175 pounds to pierce this table. So, we got to watch out for that.
I'll just add 250 to yours. Don't worry.
So looking at Cam Newton versus Josh Allen, I was going to send this out into the Twitterverse, and I got a little too scared to do it, and I didn't. For those of you who don't know and don't follow us on Twitter, I have been really salty on Twitter recently. So
it's a true story.
I can't do it. Right.
Yeah.
Twitter and I don't play along very well. I get very frustrated very quickly. So sarcastic Paul comes out right away. So yeah, thanks, Rick. Right.
Bosby.
Right?
Anthony just brought up Bosby.
That's exactly it. That's, I will get on a train and I'm going to ride it on Twitter. So I was going to tweet this out about Cam Newton. And I was thinking about how long Cam Newton has been in the league, right? Cam Newton started in 2011, okay? And this is now 2020.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like Cam Newton's been in the league longer than 9 years, right? When you think about it, doesn't it feel like he's been in the league a little longer than that?
He's been here for a while. When he first came out, I maybe falsely gave him the title of, he'll be like the LeBron of the NFL, because nobody
athletic,
at his size, his
right.
weight, his athletic ability ever came out like. He was like 6'6", 250, and can run like a deer. Like, that's not fair. When he first came out.
No, it's not. So here's where I end up with Cam Newton, and comparing him to Josh Allen. For everybody that's saying sign Josh Allen to this 10, 12-year contract, like we've seen with Mahomes, like the Watson deal, these really, really long contracts. Watch Cam Newton this weekend, because that's what an athletic quarterback who never truly learns how to be a passer looks like. That's what they look like at the end of their career. And we're talking year 9, right?
Yeah.
So we're already into, year 3 of Josh Allen. Right. Yeah. So 6 years from now, that's what an athletic quarterback looks like if they don't turn into a passer. Right. Yeah. And you tell me whether you're comfortable with if you think you've seen enough of Josh Allen, the passer, to be comfortable with that. Right. I'm not saying for or against it. Right. I'm just saying understand that that's the risk. Right. Because you were one injury away from from Josh Allen 6 years from now, maybe being that player. And it's just something to be aware of. I'm not saying that's who he's going to be. I'm just saying you have to understand the risks when you sign players to long-term deals like that.
Yeah.
And it's something to at least watch Cam Newton on Monday and see if you're comfortable with that 6 years from now.
Well, I mean, even in the year where he was the MVP and he had 35 passing touchdowns and 10 rushing touchdowns, I'm talking about Cam Newton now. I think it was this in 2015, I think it was. He really didn't have very good accuracy with a lot of his throws. You talk about a guy who had to learn how to throw. Do you think that in year 3, Josh Allen has learned how to do various things as far as throwing the ball in certain spots? I mean, he's still working on his technique a lot. It seems like when they get a 10-point lead, that's when he wants to work on his technique.
Right.
But that being said, I think he's by far, ahead of Allen. He's ahead of Newton in that respect. And I just want to break really quick. Breaking Tables Bills Talk comes in. He says, if Daboll leaves, I would think Dorsey would be the next in line to be the new offensive coordinator. I think Dorsey would be perfect guy since he knows the system. He's been there. Could you see Jordan Palmer being brought in as a quarterback coach for Allen? Now, I will say no for the simple reason that I don't think Coach K will ever leave Duke. Mm-hmm. Palmer works his own hours. He does whatever he wants to do. He takes whatever clients he wants. He works with a array of quarterbacks and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Maybe if he wants to be a coach on an NFL team, that's great. But I think right now he makes his own schedule.
He's enjoying life not being tied to an organization, right?
Exactly.
Because there's no fear that he's going to not have a job tomorrow. And when you're tied to a team, that's exactly what happens. There's always the fear that tomorrow you're not going to be there anymore.
Well, yeah, because now he's known as this guy who can work with quarterbacks and get them where they need to go as far as the NFL level. And if he goes to a team and that quarterback falters, it's not like he can go back to that job. At least I don't think he could. But, I mean, in thinking of the comparison, if we get back to Allen and thank you, Allie. If we get back to the comparison of Allen versus Newton, I think Allen by far is ahead of Newton as far as his passing is concerned. But the system that he plays in too, Paul. As we pause,
yelled at by my wife.
As we pause for station identification.
Well, so for those of you who heard my son playing the spring doorstop upstairs, she picked him up, and apparently his diaper was relatively full. I will not confirm nor deny when that happened, but she picked him up, and she's like, "I'm covered in urine now." She's like, So my wife's mad at me.
So she couldn't control the hose as it was spraying all over the place.
No. No, she picked him up, and the diaper. Ever squeeze a sponge?
Oh,
right?
no,
apparently
my God.
That's the level we were at.
How long did you have it on him? Since
not long.
6 a.m.? What the heck, Paul? Come on, man. Not even you could hold it that long.
I know. Well,
no, but
mistakes were made.
I would say that right now, if we're getting back on topic, Allen is by far a better passer this season, though. But one season doesn't make a guy. I understand.
Well,
that.
And we've seen aberrations with Cam Newton before, right? So like it wasn't all that long ago where we looked at Cam Newton and said, "Wow, where the hell did this guy come from?"
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They went 15-1, but even in the season where they went 15-1, he only threw for 3,800 yards. Right. So Josh is, but look at the weapons he had. Josh's weapons are far superior to what Newton had. Newton was working with, a bunch of valet attendants at wide receiver. Like there wasn't anybody there. So it was a surprise. But if you look at the career numbers, right, they're a lot closer than per game. They're a lot closer than what you would
Every
think.
time they throw a stat of Allen in the red zone rushing for a touchdown, they're like, all right, he's second to Newton. He's second to Newton,
Yep. Well, let me just give you the stats real quick on this.
Okay.
So we're talking per game. So over Newton's career, over Allen's career. Again, this last season for Allen is wavering these numbers closer to what they were at the start of the season, right?
Yes.
So from Newton's career, Allen's career, per game basis, a number of completions, they're both averaging 18. Right? 18.8 to 18.7, basically the exact same, right? Okay. Number of attempts, Allen's got 30.8, Newton is 31.2. That's attempts per game. Yards per game, Allen's at 218, Newton's at 227. Touchdowns, they're both at 1.4. Interceptions, they're both sub 1. Sacks, they're both at 2.2. Actually, Newton's at 2.3. So again, the same, right? These numbers all look the same. Then you get to the rushing stats. 7 rush attempts for Josh Allen for 36.3 yards. For Newton, 7.7 rushing attempts per game for 38.4. Right on rushing TDs, and Allen's at 0.6 per game, Newton's at 0.5 per game. Yeah. Like, it looks the same, but you just have to remember the progression of Allen, right?
Yeah.
If you looked at these numbers before this season, Newton looks far superior to Allen.
Yeah.
Statistically.
Oh, no, I understand that. You got to remember they're playing in 2 vastly different systems as well.
Sure.
So with different talent around them, even though they were. From the defensive standpoint, you could say it was kind of comparable. So,
yeah.
Mario, mute Paul. Apex. He's trying to crap on his holiday high. No, we're not trying. And by the way, we hope everyone had a great and Merry Christmas. We really hope you guys did. We didn't get a chance to say that, but no, I think Allen is further along. So I think the fear, if he had stats comparable to the first 2 years, but they were 11-3. I can understand how that would be camouflaging a lot of things, but this kid's throwing for 70%. He's got 4,000 yards with 2 games to go.
Right.
30-9 touchdown to, you know what I mean? So
totally agree.
But your worry, I believe, Paul, lies in the hands of, if you give this kid a new coordinator, are you willing to risk that cash? Is that what you're willing to do? Like, is that the question you're really asking? Because Dable's not going to be here for the tenure of Allen's career.
Right.
He's not. Yeah. That's just a fact. You know what I mean? Will he be here next year? Who knows? If he doesn't get a job, a head coaching job somewhere, Houston, maybe. I mean, I think his destination is going to be the Chargers. Honestly, I think they're going to move on from Lynn, and that's that. Because you know why? Because I think Herbert's the most comparable guy to Allen right now. That Dable could see himself going, all right, my system would work with a big, strong arm quarterback. I can work with Herbert. I can do that. But I mean, getting back to Allen versus Newton, I would not be against paying Allen because you already know it's coming. Mm-hmm. Now, he's already proven to be 97.8% of your offense.
Yeah, so it's crazy when you look at the numbers and you remove Allen from the rushing stats. It's scary.
Oh, yeah,
but it's scary. It's a scary world when you take Allen's rushing stats out.
So that inline proves that you could pay him what you need to pay him. Mm-hmm. And surround him with other guys. Mm-hmm. I mean, he could pick up the slack, is what I'm saying. If other guys, if you have to sign him to a huge deal, you're not allocating money in other positions. You can get by with role players at those positions. I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I mean, but if the system changes, do you think he's matured enough as a quarterback to move on with another system? Do you think he's Alex Smith-esque in the fact that he could pick up a new system quick?
Oh, you're tempting the fates by bringing up Alex Smith, who had 8 coordinators his first 9 years. That's a little bit different, right? That is a little bit different. Jason Hawkins does mention something, and I do want to agree with him real quick because it's a great point. I don't want to lose it in the chat. Yeah. He says, I think the Hail Mary against the Cards put a chip on the whole team's shoulders. They don't want that to happen again. To be honest with you, over the season, I think you need reminders that things sometimes don't go your way, right? And I think that it was a negative at the time. We all were, we were all heartbroken when the Hail Mary happened. Yeah. But the truth of the matter is those things can either sink a bad team or raise up a good team. It's like the watermark for a low of the season. Yeah. That was the watermark low of the Buffalo Bills season, was losing that football game. It wasn't anything low. You didn't see that team. It never got lower this year than that play. And truthfully, it wasn't on that one play. To lose the game on one individual play at the very end, that was the lowest watermark of the season. It really was.
I think the 3 losses, I don't know if it was the lowest because that Titans game was abysmal. I think the Titans game showed them that everybody has to show up to play. The key guys and key components that are vital to this team being successful. The Titans game showed you that. The Chiefs game showed you if you come out flat on defense, that's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. The Arizona game taught them that, hey, on any given Sunday, if we don't show up or we play down to the competition of our team, the team we're playing, we can get beat, guys. So we have to be on point every week. And then you had the motivation of, okay, there's an 11-1 team coming in. Okay, there's a young gun quarterback that you got to play with the Chargers. Oh, wait, there's Russell Wilson. It's an MVP talks. Okay. There was this little motivation for the team every single week. Hey, if we win, we clinch a playoff spot. We clinch our division. You know what I mean? And they did a lot of stuff. And I think that's, with Pittsburgh winning and with the 2 division games that you have left, number 1, to try to sweep the division. Number 2, to beat 2 rivals from the division and have 2 more AFC wins and clinch the 2nd seed in the AFC. That's what's on the horizon for them right now. That's their focus at this point. But the greatest part about that is last week, this week, and next week, they're all playoff atmosphere games. I think that's the biggest part that you're going to see going on with this Buffalo Bills team going forward is these are all playoff atmosphere teams. It's not like you're playing Cincinnati week 17 before you got to go to the playoffs. The caliber of quarterback, though, is always what I've had in question because those are the guys that stir the drink. And it was said in the chat a little bit earlier, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Gawry's. KC looks beatable. KC looks very beatable.
After today, yeah, they only put up 17 points. That's not Kansas City.
Well, they're playing a 4-10 Atlanta team that always gives up leads, and they looked like they were going through the motions, and they still won. How good are they? How good is Kansas City? They're scary.
Yeah, and that's why I'm glad that they're going to be on the other side of the bracket from Buffalo. It's just
well, that's why having the 2nd seed is key.
Exactly right, and Pittsburgh pulling that game out today. It's again, they're still lingering, right?
Yes,
that's a team that's just hanging out.
You win out, you get the 2nd seed. Just the Bills. Right. You win out, you get the 2nd seed.
That's it. Yeah, I'm not a big proponent of, I think a lot of us kind of anticipated Indy beating Pittsburgh. So when we were looking down the road at, could Buffalo rest their starters, the final week of the season? I think a lot of that was predicated on Indy beating Pittsburgh, right? To give you a little bit of that space. That's not there. Right. So you can't make a mistake. You can't. These are 2 very winnable games. You go out and win the football games that you should win. That's it. You got to go out and win. And we, at this point, we're assuming we're seeing Cam Newton and not Jared Stidham, right? Is that we're just
4 possible choices over the next 2 games? Who we could see? We could see Cam.
That's true.
We could say Stidham. We could see Tua. We could see Fitz. I mean, who do we think we could to see? I mean, it's vastly different game plans for all 4 of those guys, which will test the defensive adjustments that are going to be going in. Remember the first game for the Buffalo Bills, that was, they won by 3 on November 1st. That we all remember that. We all remember the fumble at the end by Zimmer causing Cam Newton to fumble. But if you look at the comparisons of defenses, yards per game, Buffalo's 15th, New England's 10th. Passing yards, they have the 5th best passing defense in New England. They have the 26th rushing defense. They're 6th in the NFL in points allowed. For a team that's 6-8, that's pretty impressive.
It is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In third down percentage, they're 18th. They're right with Buffalo on third down percentage.
I don't see the Patriots taking a week off. Even though they know that anything they do now only hurts their draft capital. Right. Anything they do really only hurts them at this point.
Well, I mean,
literally everybody will forgive them for a bad season. Like the players, everyone will forgive them for a bad season.
Well, half the fans went to Tampa. I'm just letting you know.
I do want to talk about people are getting really salty about bandwagon fans. Like people that are coming out of the woodwork to cheer for the Bills right now. So I know Chad mentioned it in the chat. We probably should talk about the bandwagon fans.
All right, tell me about the bandwagon
on
fans.
That.
Yes.
Well, hold on. We'll just pause on that for a second. Do you think players will look at it and see the Patriots as a sinking ship, or do you think it is, well, they didn't really have a quarterback till like 2 weeks before the season started, so we're not frustrated about this?
Depends what side of the ball you're going. I think that if you're a defensive player and you're thinking about going to the Patriots, you know that you got Tua in the division. You don't have Lawrence anymore because he's not going to be going to the Jets. You might have Darnold. So you're going to sit there and you're going to sit there and think about it and go, okay, Miami's on the rise. Young coach, young quarterback. Okay. You look at what Buffalo's doing. You got a coach and a quarterback there. They're about to win the division. Then you look at the Jets. They're going to have a new coach there and possibly a new quarterback. And then you look at New England. If you're a defensive guy, I mean, before they used to go there and take less of a check in order to try to get a ring, but there's still a lot of studs there on that defense that you could play. And then if they're sixth in giving up points, people will talk about that. Like, hey, we just got to get a little bit of offense. We're going to concentrate on that on the offseason, blah, 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 all this other stuff. If you're an offensive player that wants to go to New England, I gotta question the longevity of McDaniels there, because I think that McDaniels didn't leave for Indianapolis because he knew he was next in line because Belichick was leaving soon. So if you're an offensive guy that wants to go to the Patriots, you're going to say, okay, my offensive coordinator will eventually be my head coach. So there's longevity there. I think that they won't go to a place unless there's longevity. So there still might be some things for people. Okay, you want to come to New England, this is where the place is to be. But I think that has shifted. The pendulum has shifted to Buffalo in that respect, where, hey, if you want to go up to a place that's cold, you like cold weather games in the Northeast, you might want to go with one where, they recently won the division. They have their infrastructure is really solid there. Not that it's not in New England. I know it is, but I mean, you're talking about a Buffalo Bills team that is so young.
Right. Well, and I saw Ali Akbar mention in the chat, anyone who has the means, because he's in the 716, he was mentioning, shoveling. I'm in the Northtown, so I didn't have to shovel. Did you have to shovel this week, Mark?
I did. Yeah. I shoveled the driveway.
Did you get a lot of snow? Did you get a lot of snow?
I did get a lot of snow, and my back is killing me. Yes.
Yep. Nope. I got like maybe 2 inches of snow. Northtowns are great. I love the Northtowns. But Ali mentions anyone who has the means to move out of New York does. I envy them, to be honest. That actually brings us to our sponsor, which is Mr. Rogers Homes. He is our Arizona relocation specialist. So if you're out of town, a lot of people who watch our streams are out of towners. If you're ever looking to relocate into Arizona, MrRogersHomes.com. He's got a free relocation guide. You can grab that in the description of this video. Great guy. Sean, a huge Bills fan from the 716, but he's been in Arizona for like 30 years. But we talk constantly. He texts me every week about the Bills. We talk football literally 5 times a week. Sean and I talk a lot from Mr. Rogers Homes. So
he's the Buffalo Bills of realtors out there. He's the top 1%.
That's top 1%er.
Yeah.
That's it. The bandwagon fans. I think this is important to talk about, right?
Okay.
I don't get bothered by bandwagon fans. I know a lot of people do, right? Because you mark your territory as a Bills fan, but we're kind of a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
Like if you come to a game, and it's hard to get fans right now, right? Because there's no tailgate to suck them in. There's no game day experience, right? And not a lot of people want to come to Buffalo, right? Now, a lot of times they end up at Buffalo because they can't afford tickets at another surrounding stadium that their team is playing at, right? But I'm okay with people cheering for Buffalo, right? We're an easy team to fall in love with. Look at once you get into, the culture of what it's like to be a member of Bills Mafia, we're awesome. We're a lot of fun.
Yes.
I don't get bothered by people who get jealous of that and want to be a part of it. I really don't. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't know if you're a little more territorial as a fan.
I don't know. It's almost like a rite of passage. Below Zero says I disagree, Paul, but and you're probably going to get some people. No, I think that in order to now, you think about Buffalo Bills fans suffering through what we've had to suffer for the past 17 years of the drought, being made fun of, all this other stuff, but we still stuck by our team and we still stuck to our guns. That is kind of like a badge of honor. Now, if you're a Bills, how long have you been a Bills fan? Well, I've been a Bills fan for this long, and I've suffered through, the 90s. I celebrated through the 90s. I suffered through the 2000s, in a lot of the 2010. But, it's almost like I could see both sides of it. One, it's like if you're at a company for years and years and you're waiting to get a promotion, and a guy that just comes into the company gets a promotion over you. You're like, no, I've been here working every day. You're not just going to get a ride to the front of the line. But I can also see the fact is the teacher in me is like, listen, you want to come to the Bills Mafia, and someone said, oh, whoever comes in now, they're bandwagon fans are pretenders. Brian Buck, he says, Bills bandwagons are pretenders. Well, you remember the first time you were introduced to the Buffalo Bills and the fan base here. You don't get it's the mafia. You don't leave. You don't leave. Yeah. You are a member of the mafia. You don't leave.
Right.
So to Paul's point, once they see how much fun and how much engaging and how passionate that the fan base is with the team, how close they are with the team, how much the team is with the players, and so on. Usually, and in normal season when they have fans in the stands, I understand that. You're hooked. You're immediately hooked. Now, full disclosure, I did not become a Bills fan immediately, and I was not a Bills fan in the 90s. So I don't know what it's like to have success as a Bills fan. I was never a fan in the 90s. So I didn't become a fan of the Bills until, I think, 2000, 2001 maybe.
Yep. Well, I think there's
Blood
a
in,
bunch
blood
of
out,
comments that
Anthony.
we need. Yeah, there's a few comments we need to get to here. John Mallor says Bills are the cure for COVID blues and flus, which is
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean the Bills were definitely the symptom of a lot of things for a lot of years. Jay Barkley says, I don't mind bandwagon fans as long as they know their place and aren't arrogant. I think that's a good point, right? You can cheer for the Bills, but just don't be that brash, arrogant guy who a year ago was, you're waving your flag for the Raiders, right? Like, we appreciate the enthusiasm, but you got to earn your stripes. Breaking Tables Bills Talk says Josh Allen 6-0 versus team with top 10 passing defenses this year. And actually, Breaking Tables Bills Talk's YouTube channel is actually really good.
It's phenomenal. You guys should check it out.
Yeah, if you guys haven't subbed to Breaking Tables, you probably should.
You probably should.
Tommy's putting a lot of work in over there.
He is.
So I think Allen is reading defenses and adjusting at the line much better this season. That's definitely something that kind of concerned me walking into this season was Allen's checks, because we saw for the first two seasons, Allen would race to the line to get there before the play clock got to 15, right? And Mar, why was that so important?
Oh, because he had Dable in his ear the entire time.
Right.
So he was going to be like, okay, you're going to be checking this, checking that. I think the fact that he, having been in the offense for the third year, having to know they did a mix of him. Remember, the first 2 years of his it was all learning. Like, he wasn't supposed to start coming out of the gate. You remember that he was not supposed to start coming out of the gate. He was supposed to sit back and watch and all. And he was supposed to develop and all sorts of stuff. So they tried one way with him, one reading out. Then they tried another thing after he got hurt. Remember, we split up Allen's. He had 4 seasons prior to this year. So he had his rookie season before he got hurt, his rookie season after he got hurt. He had his second year, before he got hurt and after he got hurt. So he's gone through a bunch of different levels of hurry up, break the huddle from the line, doing a bunch of different things. And I think because he's been running so many of the similar type plays that Daboll has, he knows where to look for certain downfalls of certain things. So you don't see, you never see him throw the same pick twice. You never do. I mean, you look back at it, look through his career as a rookie to second year to now. Is if you can match up the same pick that he's thrown, this kid doesn't make the same mistake twice, and that's what's great about it. But I think he is starting to read defenses a little bit better. He's starting to get things, and even when he doesn't, we said that the one thing that separates Allen from that entire draft class is that he has the arm strength to get it there if he's late on a read, and you'll know that because when he throws it, there's no run after the catch.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's done where he catches it.
Yeah. It's like throwing to Sammy Watkins.
Oh, God.
Hey, congrats to Pierre, who just upgraded to the All-Pro.
Hey, Pierre.
Mario and I have a very special surprise that we're going to be beta testing with Elliot, one of our moderators, for the All-Pro and Hall of Famers for the live streams, and even after hours. We've got it's going to be pretty cool. But we're going to idiot test it with Elliot before we release it to the masses. But congrats to Pierre, and again, all money from the all proceeds. We're talking about from super chats and the hashtag heroes, those memberships, again, go to the Punt Foundation. So we're really excited about getting as much of that in under the wire for 2020 and try and make 2020 as good a year as we can.
Absolutely. Next year we'll pick a new charity and we'll start doing that one.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep
the punt's been a good one so far.
We're gonna keep this band rolling for now.
Let me ask you a question, because somebody just John Marlowe just mentioned Marv Levy. I gotta ask you a question. Maybe this is an episode. Maybe you could tell me to put a pin in it for an episode, but Brandon Beane and McDermott, when they got here, right? I was very concerned about the fact that they were only signing Boy Scouts, right? Like you had to be, an Eagle Scout to play for the Buffalo Bills. And we'd seen that before, right? We saw that when Marv was GM, and that didn't go so well, right? Marv brought in Boy Scouts. That's what he wanted. He wanted the All-American polo shirt buttoned up all the way, hardworking, nose of the grindstone, stone Boy Scout. That's what Marv wanted. I feel like this is a different episode, maybe an episode for another day.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think so? Should we talk about this? Should this be an episode?
I mean, I can comment quickly on it, and then we could save it for an episode.
Yeah,
for another day.
Go ahead and do that.
I would say that I would compare it to cooking pasta. I would definitely compare it to cooking pasta. Now, if you throw a bunch of spaghetti in a pan,
oh my God, the Italian guy's making a pasta reference. All right, I get it. Please continue. Sorry.
If you throw the spaghetti in water that's not boiling, what happens? Nothing. It did
nothing.
It just stays hard-headed, basically. But if you heat up the water and you put everything that you desire in it, that's what he was doing. And then you happen to put that spaghetti in there, it'll mold and conform and start to soften up a little bit. He had to get those guys in here first to lay the groundwork for the culture. Once he did that, he probably knew he wasn't going to win very much in the first couple of years anyway. He probably thought, making the playoffs was a fluke. I think we all could say that. Breaking the streak was a fluke. So what he decided to do was get all these guys, these high character guys around to say, listen, okay, I want to set the tempo and the atmosphere of the locker room so that if we bring in some of these knuckleheads, guess what? You're going to either take care of what you got to take care of, or you're not going to be here. Mm-hmm. So, and the winning is what's solidifying what he's doing was the correct move. So you're 11-3 now. You got all these high character guys. You probably have a couple guys on that team. I mean, I love what Diggs has been doing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking bad about Diggs. But if this team was 3-11, I have a feeling Twitter might have been approached by Stephon Diggs. I don't know the man. I don't know the player. I've never met him. But from what happened in Minnesota to now, you're 11-3. Paul, you say it all the time. Winning cures everything. There's certain things you will never hear about if a team is winning. I can't wait for the 30 for 30 in 5 years about the Patriots dynasty and all the shady stuff that comes out from there. Just because they were winning. No one's going to say anything when they're winning. Yeah. Right. And the coaches that are coaching in the NFL right now, you got O'Brien, you have Vrabel, you have Patricia's gone. But the point is, you had guys that were like, okay, they're still coaching, so they're probably using some of them techniques, so they're not going to say anything bad about the Patriots right now. Right. So, I mean, that isn't another episode, but what I'm saying is he had to lay that foundation of the players first. Okay, we're getting talented, high character guys. Those are the two. Moneyball. That's what he said. This is, I need Scott Hatterberg at first. Okay, get Pena out of there. So my point is this: he had to get those guys to lay the ground, the foundation for the locker room, and then afterward he was allowed to bring in some knuckleheads if he wanted. Yeah,
this feels like an off-season episode.
This is a great off-season episode.
Let me write that down. Okay,
I'll pin it.
All right, you're gonna write. Let's get back to the Bills versus Patriots, right?
Yes.
So Patriots have typically been a ground team, right? The last few years, that's kind of what they hung their hat on, was being a ground team late in the season. That's what we'd see, right? You look at Tom Brady, and from a fantasy football perspective, Tom Brady, the first 8 weeks was a great quarterback to have, right? And then the last 9 weeks, right? Yep. Slowly, and as you got into cold weather, what would happen? Well, then you start turning to the ground game, right? Start turning over and over and over and over again. Damian Harris is a fun running back to watch because he's old. He could pound inside. I had high hopes for Sonny Michel, and those are quickly being dashed, right? Just doesn't look like it's going to work out for him in New England. Mm-mm. The Patriots running the football against the Buffalo Bills, vulnerable? Like, are we still thinking the Bills are vulnerable against the Patriots being able to run the football?
I don't think so. I don't. I think what the Buffalo Bills have been able to do, especially in the previous weeks. I mean, you talk about when they had to stop the run, they stopped the run. You look at Josh Jacobs. You looked at Derrick Henry. You looked at not Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But when you look at some of these teams that have running backs that could gouge in, that can do some, Melvin Gordon last week. The blueprint for Denver last week was to try to run the ball against the Bills, and they couldn't. They couldn't at all. I mean, I think he had like 50 yards to total for the whole game. But that being said, I think they refined a lot of stuff. And to your point that you made last week on the post game, Paul, having Matt Milano in there, I don't know what it is. It turns Tremaine Edmonds into a bigger monster.
Yeah, I am gonna look up Milano's snap count from last game because I don't know what it is, and that's
I
a
got
good
you
point.
right now. I'll do
Oh, you
it
got
right now.
Milano. Okay, yeah.
I'll do a snap count right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
I'm
and
blind.
I've said it before. Yeah, wow, that is really bright.
25 snaps, 42% of the snaps.
Okay.
Okay. So he's still on a pitch count, but obviously obvious passing downs. Mm-hmm. So you're still relying on Klein and Edmonds to take the bulk of the run game with you. Plus, those guys up front, they had to learn the defense too. I mean, they had to do something. You lose Phillips and you lose Starr. You got to remake that whole defensive line.
Right. Well, and let's not forget that Harrison Phillips, first year under this defensive line coach, right? He missed last season, right? So we're talking it is a change. And I don't think, position coach changes get the attention that they really deserve, for some of the struggles that players will have fitting into the system, because the defensive line coach needs to understand the system. The defensive line coach doesn't understand the system totally. That doesn't work, right? That's where you run into major problems, is your organization starts slowly peeling away because if your position coach can't translate what the defensive coordinator needs to the players, you have a disaster on your hands. I do agree. It probably took a little bit of time to get that right. Again, the Bills aren't putting up a lot of sack numbers.
No,
but that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
And when you're only bringing 4, this is a Tampa 2. You're kind of only bringing 4 guys the whole time. But Matt Milano being on the field completely changes Tremaine Edmonds. Completely changes him as a player. He becomes a fearless monster with Matt Milano out there, because Milano does such a great job at cleanup. And even Milano, I know he's on a pitch count. They're bringing him a little bit more than I've seen in previous seasons. Mm-hmm. Because again, I think they're a little concerned about him going side to side. So they're just going to bring him forward. Right. They're going to use him in pressure packages. They're going to use him that way because it's a little easier for them from a health perspective to just bring him forward than make him run side to side.
Yeah. You're going to want to test drive that car one more time before you buy it. I think that's what the Bills are doing. And I think it was a calculated move, like you said, with Milano and his agent. You're not going to IR a guy, or he's not going to want to be IR'd in a contract year. Because he's going to want to play. He's going to want to try to shop. If not for your team, he's going to shop his wares. Don't go to the light. No, I'm not going to go into the light, Luis. But you start to look at it. Now, it's an interesting thing you bring up with Eric Washington coming over from Carolina. Obviously, it's McDermott guy. It's Frazier's defense, overseen by McDermott. Mm-hmm. Do you think there was a bit of a disconnect with the defensive line and the second level and third level based on... You know what I mean? Because McDermott probably, like you said, there's not a lot of sacks. That's McDermott-esque. That's not Frazier-esque. Right. Frazier wants to bring the heat on you. And a lot of times when he does bring the heat, you know it. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're blitzing Klein off the edge, and you're bringing a double.
We're seeing that a lot more.
Yeah,
we're seeing that a lot
absolutely.
more. But when you have a defense that's been together for 50 games, like if you look at that's defense, the main parts of it been together for like 50 games now. You got to start bringing things that you haven't been comfortable doing in previous seasons. You have to make changes, and bringing pressure is one of them. Now, is it generating a ton of sacks? Nope. But you have to do it enough to make a team uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, just getting the guy off his spot is effective. If you make a guy have an errant throw on third down, you get the ball back. Doesn't matter if it's a sack or not. Okay. Now we're talking about flipping field position. That's different. If you're talking about the opponent has the ball on your 30, and obviously you want to get a sack in that situation, so you get them out of field goal range. I understand that. But that all being said, I mean, I would take pressures all day. Hughes is getting there. He's just a half a second late. Sometimes he's getting there. They're pushing the pocket up the middle more, whether they're A-gap blitzing or not. Because what you're doing is even when Milano and Edmonds line up in a double A-gap blitz, and they peel out of there, that offers confusion for the offensive line and who they're blocking. So it makes the defensive tackles' lives a little bit easier. So that's how they help each other. If you're going to blitz, as you well know, we've talked about this a lot. If you're going to blitz, you're going to have some guys play man back there a little longer than they want to. So The fact that they're starting to bring more pressure with Klein, Milano, and Edmonds, the fact that Milano and Edmonds know each other so well, know where each other's going to be, know that the other one will pick up the slack. The fact that the guards aren't getting free reign on the second level anymore. These defensive tackles are doing their job. I'm not worried about the New England run game. Is it a concern because that's where their strength lies? Absolutely. But as far as if you would have asked me November 1st, am I concerned about the New England run game? Yes. Right now, I'm less concerned about it than I was.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. That's a great point. You went the long way round on me, but that's a great point.
I had to. You know.
Matt Spies brings up what happened to Kumaro. Were they just setting an example? Roster management section, real quick.
Yes.
Jay Kumaro is the reason you didn't sign Dane Jackson to the 53-man roster. Because you've got guys coming back from IR, Kumaro, they signed him up to the active roster. They had to cut him, or they had to waive him. Sorry, excuse me. They had to waive him to make room for John Brown, right? They have to waive somebody. When you put a guy on IR and then sign somebody to replace him, at some point you need to make a roster move to get that guy off of IR. So even though John Brown hasn't been activated officially to the 53-man roster, he's been cleared to return. They wanted to clear up room for him to be eligible to play. And that was going to come at, the lowest hanging fruit, which was Kumaro, right? I think they waived him and hoped that he would get back to their practice squad. I don't think it had anything to do with anything else. They signed him up to the active roster because they knew they'd be able to waive him and maybe get him back down.
Yeah.
But they can't do that with Dane Jackson. You put Dane Jackson on this roster and waive him to make room for somebody else coming up IR, he's gone. I think they were willing to risk that with Kumaro, and they're not willing to risk it with Dane Jackson.
Yeah, Kumaro wasn't a draft pick. I mean, there's a definite thing. These guys love the guys that they pick up. They love the guys they pick up. DK comes in with a question that we probably did about 3 episodes on, Paul.
Oh, yeah, but it's a while ago.
I know.
It was a while ago.
We traded Mahomes' pick. We got White, Allen, Edmonds from picks, including picks for trade-ups. Who won the trade? Right now, Kansas City has. I mean, would I make that trade again? Absolutely. But when you talk about what is remembered in the NFL, what are you remembered for? This guy was already a league MVP and a Super Bowl MVP, and they won the Super Bowl. Allen, Edmonds, and Trey White have not yet. So if that's your marker, if that's your benchmark, okay, they won the trade. The X factor is him going to Andy Reid and sitting for a year behind Alex Smith. So that is something that let's put it this way. If the Buffalo Bills took Patrick Mahomes with the 10th pick and didn't trade back, who knows who they would have taken the next year, because they probably would have been drafting high as well. I think they would have been drafting a high pick as well there. I don't think they make the playoffs. So if you're going to get an extra first-round pick by having another team trade up, obviously, the McDermott-Reed connection was very strong. Okay, he's trading up for a quarterback. There's 4 studs coming out the next year that you have a pick from. Why not make that trade? And then get the assets. You got the quarterback of his offense, quarterback of his defense, and a lockdown corner. What's wrong with that? I see both teams winning the trade hands down.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think this is a both scenario, right? So you look at Mahomes, and the fact of the matter is Mahomes walked into a better situation with a great offensive coach.
Yes.
Right? Allen walked into a developing situation with the defensive head coach, right?
Yes.
And had to play right away. He didn't have the luxury of being able to learn. They didn't give him that luxury. He had to play right away. So it is a tale of 2 cities, but the fact of the matter is both organizations walked away with what looks like their franchise quarterbacks. And that's a win-win. Now, Buffalo needed more help than Kansas City did.
Oh God!
So I mean, that's just So they both won that trade. Now put Mahomes in Buffalo, put Allen in Kansas City. Allen is an athletic freak, and he likely would have had success with Andy Reid, because Andy Reid is an outstanding offensive mind.
He is.
So Reid would have figured out how to leverage
him. There too. Bieniemy's gonna.
Right.
It's going to be Bieniemy. It's going to be Bieniemy and Dable going for jobs. Those are the top 2 hires.
I agree. I agree with that. I agree with you there. So both teams really won that deal, but Buffalo needed the help. So it's one of those where, like, you're in gym class and it's first pick or second 2, right? You took second two.
Yeah.
You took second 2.
Yeah.
And I'm very comfortable with that.
Yeah, the only problem I have with the trade is when I hear people say, "Oh my God, Mahomes threw for 50, and Bills could have drafted him." They could have, yes, but if you think he's throwing for 50 in 2018, I think I would like to know who your handler is, because that's not happening in Buffalo. Luis keeps messaging and retracting them. I read one of them. I almost got to the end of it before he retracted it. If you got a question, Luis, hit us up, buddy.
So Anthony asks, with Gilmore out, do you think Allen could break Bledsoe's record tomorrow? I think he'd break it with Gilmore in. Diggs on Gilmore. That's fine. I'd love to see
John Brown put him on skates, but you talking about Bledsoe? I need a minute.
He needs 360 yards. Spin just put it in the chat. He needs 360
over
yards.
2 games. Yeah, he's got it. I mean,
well, no, do you think he's going to do it tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow 360?
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know.
Listen, Jalen Hurts almost threw for 360 today. Okay, I'm just saying it's possible.
He was playing the Cowboys. If Allen was playing the Cowboys,
the Patriots put 20 guys as questionable. Aren't they basically the Cowboys at this point? Are we really there? Come on.
They're America's Most Wanted, not America's team.
And the weather's going to be nice. John Vernon actually mentions it. I say Vernon, and I don't think that's actually how you pronounce that last name.
Veneron.
Veneron.
I don't
know why I say Vernon.
It's quick. It happens.
50 degrees tomorrow in New England. It's going to be a warm day, respectively.
Yeah.
Respectively.
It depends on the game plan. They've been really good at allotting the game plan to certain points of what they want to attack. Like if a team has typically a weaker run defense like New England did, they ran the ball against New England very well in the first matchup. Let me go back and just see that matchup really quick. But I'm pretty sure they ran the ball successfully, so Allen didn't really need to do much. If I'm looking at the first matchup with the Patriots, 24-21 victory, the Buffalo Bills were able to run for 190 yards. They only threw for 149. They actually were outgained by the Patriots in that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
I don't know, man. The Bills have just not run the football effectively all year. I just don't see all of a sudden you do that. I mean, if you're going to put something on film, this is kind of the time that you put it on film, right? If you're going to run the ball 36 times tomorrow, don't you want to do that right before the playoffs and put that in the film box and say, Buffalo looks like they're changing things up as they get to cold weather. That makes sense, doesn't it? Like, part of me says you should run the football a lot. Run the football as much as you can tolerate and still win the football game. Like the football guy in me says, do that. Put that on film. Make teams prepare for that.
Yeah, you do want to put a bunch of different things on film for teams to try to game plan against you're going to be coming up against. But I mean, just statistics from the first game: Cam Newton 15 for 25, 174, no picks, no touches. Josh Allen 11 of 18, 154 yards and a pick. Mm-hmm. That's usually a quarter for him.
Right.
But then you look at Damian Harris, 16 for 102 and a touchdown. Zach Moss, 14 for 81 and 2 touchdowns. So the Buffalo Bills were really focused on running the ball, even though Stephon Diggs had 6 catches for 92 yards in that game. 6 of Josh Allen's 11 completions. So you can bet that they're going to try to take away Diggs at all costs. They're going to have 3 guys. They're going to bracket covers. They're going to do a bunch of things with Diggs. So I expect tomorrow to be the game where another guy has to step up. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for another player other than Stephon Diggs to step up in this game. Could it be Zach Moss running the ball? Yes. Could it be Cole Beasley, who is having a sneaky good year, by the way?
Yeah.
Sneaky. Could it be Dawson Knox? Could Dawson Knox have his breakout game against the Patriots tomorrow? Is it possible?
Mario, I need to check you for signs of stroke. Do me a favor. Can you feel both hands? Can you do this?
You're about to catch these hands.
Well, I'll tell you what's not going to catch Dawson Knox. So I do not think Dawson Knox is the straw that stirs the drink for the Bills.
That whole sequence
Monday
is a typical phone conversation, by the way, for #Nation.
That's true. That's true.
No, but I'm just saying though, the way that the Buffalo Bills could go into the playoffs, creating a lot of doubt for other teams, is that if somebody other than Allen and Diggs stirs the drink offensively, so it's another weapon. You're like, wow, what? You got to deal with Allen. You got to deal with Diggs. Now we got to deal with Bees. Now we got to deal with. Now we have to deal with. You know what I mean? It's like the more weapons you can put out there that teams have to contend with, the more it opens up your playbook. Mm-hmm. It opens up so much more stuff in your playbook. If why is Knox not even playing tomorrow? Like, am I missing something?
No, Knox is playing.
No, what I'm saying is like let Knox have 6 catches for 80 yards tomorrow. Watch teams be like, oh no.
Well, James FX90 said hot take 3 receiving TDs for over 40 yards for Dawson Knox. Like, this is Dawson Knox burner account. Is this Dawson Knox handle?
James FX, what's up, buddy? I've never seen him comment before. Is that your first comment?
Daniel Garis, John Brown can have a great game versus New England. I'm actually going to disagree with that. I don't think John Brown plays unless he's above 80%. What are you playing John Brown for? Right? What do you like? I know you need to push for the 2 seed.
The other part of the fear factor for other teams. If you want to show you see what this offense did over the previous weeks without Brown. Imagine you put Brown in the lineup. Plus, if New England's sole focus is to take away Diggs, who had half of the receptions of Allen last game. I know these are 2 different teams now than they were when they played November 1st, but if you're starting to say, okay, could you throw to somebody else other than Diggs if we take away Diggs? Mm-hmm. John Brown's a heck of an option. So is Beasley. But New England practices against this offense every day, and they have for their entire career. A lot of these guys have been there. You know, they've been there with Edelman. They've been there with Brady in the past. They practice against this very offense and how it's run. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Breaking Tables Bills talks, somebody says, what we've done in the last 4 games has maybe gone unnoticed was Dable and Frazier's halftime adjustments. Big reason why we won 4 in a row. I agree with you 110%. Breaking Tables, where you film your stuff in the car, don't you?
Every once in a while. I think
we have. No, I'm just kidding.
We have a copy. We're going to be sending you a cease and desist copyright infringement.
I'm just kidding. Breaking
I'm kidding. Clearly kidding.
We just got to get you in our car. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. I do want. Steve Rose brought up something, and I think it's a great question. I do want to get to it. So he was talking about home field advantage for Buffalo. Obviously, no fans in the stands, right? That's a big detraction from having home field advantage. But let's just imagine for a moment Kansas City gets bumped in the second round, right? And you have a home AFC championship game in Buffalo. Are the elements enough to make it home field advantage? Right? Does Buffalo present enough unique elements? It's really windy here. Like, one of the reasons, if you go back, go ahead and look. How many times have the Bills had a young kicker? Go back and look. A kicker who hadn't already been, that hadn't been on multiple teams at that point. You didn't see it very often. A lot of times Buffalo was signing like very veteran kickers because it's a tricky place to kick. This stadium is very tricky to kick.
It is.
So does Buffalo present enough advantages to be really home field advantage without the noise? I think it's a great question.
I don't know, Paul. I just pulled up the Buffalo Bills roster. Mm-hmm. Southern California, Georgia Southern Methodist, New Mexico, Louisiana Tech, UCF.
That just means they like to scout where
Texas
it's warm.
A&M,
I don't blame
Virginia
them for
Tech, that. Miami, Florida, Louisiana State, Georgia.
So what I'm hearing.
No, I'm just I think that for people thought that the defenses were gonna have a lot of things. I mean, I think it's only for I think it's only for if you were an opposing team coming into a very, very loud stadium, it'd be very, very tough for you. I understand that. But it's like these guys have been doing it for 14 games now. I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think home field is going to be a big deal at all. John Marlowe, Bills 27, Packers 13, Super Bowl. I'd be down with that.
Ooh. B Lightning, listen, hold on, let me get back to it. Listen, you're telling me that when Buffalo has a home playoff game with no fans, that people would rush the parking lot? I mean, good luck keeping people away from that stadium. Good luck, because there's so many residences around there with lots of open field. Good luck keeping people out of Orchard Park. Good luck. You're not going to be able to do it. It's too residential an area. There's not a lot. There's a lot of football stadiums are in metropolitan areas where you can control that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo.
Nope. I could see a very sizable crowd outside of the stadium watching the game on those little big those billboards they have outside, and just making noise from outside. I could see that. What Apex say? AJ Dillon.
No. Paul D. Did you ever hear Steve Tasker tell the story when some Buffalo Bills threw up a piece of paper and then they watched it blow all around the stadium up near the top of the bleachers? I've never heard that story. I never heard that.
They did the Four Falls of Buffalo. I love when Tasker said there were 2.5 million people at the comeback game.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody was there.
Butcher's Block, please take it easy on us tomorrow. Sincerely, all of Pat's Nation. Listen, we will take it easy on you because we respect you. I make no promises for the 157 people in the chat and all of Bill's Twitter. Yes. I'd make no promises. Oh, Jared, thank you so much for supporting. Brother? Yeah, thank you. That money, again, 100% of all the super chats are going right to the Pountain Foundation. So thank you so much for that. They appreciate that. So thank you very much,
Jared.
Yeah,
awesome.
Hey,
Merry Christmas,
go Bills.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, happy holidays.
That's phenomenal. But
just a side note, did you see who was it? Oh God, there was somebody on Twitter. He was a safety. He made a hit on Aaron Hernandez because their comment about Aaron Hernandez came up. I'll find it.
Who had
it? It was a story. It was like Throwback Thursday to when I hit Aaron Hernandez on the sidelines and they took his helmet off and told me he was going to kill me. Little did I know. Like, I'm not kidding. It was a legit thing on Twitter. I have to find who it was. I don't remember who it was, but somebody. Nope. It was somebody.
Nope.
I gotta know. I gotta remember it now.
Nope. Not touching it. Nope. Yeah. Nope.
Got it. Yep.
I think the home playoff game that the Buffalo Bills have. You know what? I want everybody to be safe. I don't want anybody to put themselves in danger one iota. And I understand that this is a long time coming for a lot of Bills fans. I just hope everyone's smart about it. That's all I care about. That's all I'm going to ever care about. And would I love to be in the stadium? That would be a hot ticket. I would definitely love to go there, watch a Bills playoff game at home. Wow. But I don't know. I want everyone to be safe. We got the predictions coming up, ladies and gentlemen. And just as Paul stated before, all super chats and all hashtag channel members, which we call them the hashtag heroes here, all the proceeds will be going to the Punt Foundation, Brian Moorman's Foundation for Children with Pediatric Cancer. So we can't thank you enough. We're going to be donating that check very, very soon in the upcoming weeks. As well as if the snow's starting to bother you, Paul, where could they go?
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's right. MrRogersHomes.com. He is he's our partner for this video. Again, if you're ever looking to relocate out to the Valley of the Sun, that is Mr. Rogers Homes. His relocation guide is in the description of this video.
Absolutely.
Scores I see popping up in the chat. Again, give us your score prediction in the chat. I've seen a bunch of them. A lot of them are Bills by like 1 billion. So Brian Gilbert, 27-9, Steve Rose, 31-17. Hussey says 31-13. I personally, Pierre mentioned 31-24 Bills. Barkley says 38-10. James FX90 says 49-6. Yikes.
That would be a poetic spike. I love that.
You think so?
Louise 38-14. Matt Manson, Bills 35-12. To put the final dagger.
Table's 34-9. So we're gonna see 3 field goals. And then I was gonna score a touchdown. Like
we spot him a safety at the beginning of the game.
I look at it this way, right? I don't think the Bills have to win by a lot, right? If the Bills will score 27 and they'll be comfortably 2 scores ahead. We've seen this Bills team before do that. They'll get up 2 scores and just kind of pop it into neutral and kind of cruise down the hill. I think they'll score 27 and take their foot off the gas and just kind of ride it out. I don't see the Pats scoring more than 2 touchdowns on Buffalo. I just don't see it.
I had 28-14.
Yeah.
I'm
so you're right with me.
I'm fine
You're
with
right
that.
with me.
I'm right. I'm with you on that one, Paul. I mean, I mean, would I love it to be a slaughter for the 20 years that we've gotten kicked in the teeth by that team?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be great. But you know what? If you win by, I'm going to sound like Vin Diesel in Fast and Furious. No matter if you win by an inch or a mile, winning's winning.
Win is a win.
Yes.
Win is a win.
You win. Illustrator, Buffalo 17-0. I'd take that. Shutting out the Patriots.
Oh my God. Can you imagine talking about putting the nail in the coffin of the AFC East? You stomp the Patriots to a goose egg
In their house.
Oh,
In their house. Ask any racer Apex.
Oh. Oh my goodness.
What a beautiful thing that would be. And you know, and work's not done yet, but because you got the Dolphins who they seem to be peaking at a good time. Their run game is starting. Paul, you weren't a fan of the run game. You didn't think they had a run game. Now it seems like, you know, your boy Gaskins is starting to run the ball pretty good in Miami.
He used to run behind Trey Adams. You know, I saw a lot of Myles Gaskin in college, and I said this to my son last night when I was watching the Miami game, which was a wild game. What a wild game that Raiders game was. Raiders versus Miami. And I'm watching Gaskin play, and I go, man, he is so much better in the NFL than he was in college. Like, he's just Chan Gailey just said, come to me, little one. I will teach you how to not suck.
Follow me to freedom.
Not that he was bad. He wasn't bad. Gaskins was a good player, just undersized, not incredibly fast, not incredibly shifty, can catch pretty well, cannot pass protect. So he's like a lot of college running backs that come out, you know? So Joel Young says, I say stick with what was working, which is attacking the opponent's weakness. Yeah, again, if that kind of depends, that Patriots team is just hemorrhaging left, right, and center right now. So if the Bills score easily throwing early, do you think they ever get out of that mode? Do you think they just throw the whole game, or do you think they have the ability to start running the football?
At this point, I worry about the Buffalo Bills getting a sizable lead and then keeping starters in there. That's what I worry about. Like a stupid injury near the end of the game. Mm-hmm. I worry about that. You know, and I always worry about that. That's always something that's been a concern of mine. If you get, it's like those guys that, you know, in baseball, when they get up 10 runs, they're still stealing second. You know, I mean, I want to put, you know, as a pitcher, I want to put the ball in the side of someone's ear when they start doing that. Like, that's, knock it off.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't need to do that.
Right.
I think the Buffalo Bills are going to look to make a statement in the division. They're looking to win out, obviously go 13-3, sweeping the division, taking the second seed, and they want to prove, like, they want to leave no doubt about who they are and that who is the beast of the East right now. So they don't want to go and, oh, hey, we were 5-0, we couldn't affect our seeding, so we're not going to play guys against Miami, and then we go 5-1 in the division. You don't want to ever give a team that even possibly might make the playoffs. I mean, that could be a game where they're knocking, they knock Miami out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
How off? You know, that's cherry on the cake right there.
Again, you're kicking him down the hill. You know,
Yep.
It's just you're playing king of the hill at that time. You're playing kingmaker is what you're doing. You're saying, I will let you in, right? You got to beat me twice, right?
Yeah.
How many? Go ahead, try and beat me twice. Go ahead, just try and beat me twice. You're playing kingmaker if the Bills are in that position. So a couple things could happen, right? Beasley's getting close to 1,000 yards. Do you think he gets it tomorrow? John Veteran says that 2,000-yard receivers for Buffalo. The other one would be Beasley. Do you think he gets there tomorrow?
That is, just let me see here. He's got 50 more yards. Yeah, I think he gets there tomorrow.
Yeah. What about Allen breaking Bledsoe's record? He needs 360. Does he get there?
Oh my God!
In New England. Think about it. In New England.
Oh God. Breaks Bledsoe. I mean, the story writes itself.
I know, right? Doesn't it?
He breaks Drew Bledsoe, who played for the Bills, was drafted by the Patriots.
Yep.
That wasn't his stadium though. He didn't play in that same stadium. But point being is this. Yeah, that would be definitely poetic if Allen did it. Now, could he do it? Now, it's weird because we haven't had the ability to say this about a lot of Bills teams in the past. If the Buffalo Bills play their best game and New England plays their best game, the Bills will win. When in the last 20 years have you been able to say that?
Right.
I don't think anybody has.
Nope.
No. There could be some unfortunate bounces. There could be. How about this? How about Gabriel Davis? Does he break 500 yards tomorrow? He's at 459 right now.
I mean, that just depends on if John Brown's playing, right? I mean,
yeah.
If Brown's playing, no. If Brown's out, then that becomes very doable. And Gabe Davis is becoming, and I know it doesn't feel like it, but Gabe Davis is becoming a very dangerous deep threat in the NFL. If you look at his yards per target and his yards
13,
per catch,
right?
It's up there. He's up there. When you start looking at, if that's how you're going to measure deep threats, right, is yards per target, yards per catch, he's getting there.
I love
air yards per catch. Yeah, he's getting there.
I love the fact that we always, from a physical standpoint, him versus John Brown is no comparison. They're completely opposite ends of the spectrum as far as physicality, how they play the position, what they're doing. But both are deep threats, like you said, in unique ways. John Brown, precision route runner, tries to get deep, tries to beat you with speed. Gabriel Davis will muscle you out of any ball that's up in the air. Like, it's his or it's incomplete. That's what I love about Gabe Davis, and that's something that Allen needs. Can Allen win Offensive Player of the Year? Ooh, that'd be a good one. I don't know, that usually goes to the running back, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, the other argument is, does Flores win Coach of the Year with this whole Tua Fitz tango that he's playing and winning football games doing it?
Yeah.
Is that Coach of the Year stuff? He's doing what he needs to do to survive, right? Win football games.
The turnaround of wins is the biggest thing. I mean, the Buffalo Bills, they won 10 games last year. If they win 13, was that a big,
Well, Mar, I mean, look at this, right? We're looking at the playoffs. There's going to be a 10-win football team who doesn't make the playoffs this year.
Playoffs?
Yeah.
That is a very definite possibility. That's
it's a guarantee.
It's a certainty. Oh my God,
it's
really?
A certainty. There's going to be a 10-win team on the outside. It's a certainty already.
Let me look back at that. That's
Isn't that crazy? Especially since there's, look at all the playoff teams there are now, right? Like it used to, the 1 and 2 seeds used to get buys. Nope.
Okay, currently the Colts, Ravens. Okay, you got the Colts. It's currently at 10 wins. You got the Dolphins, Ravens, Browns, and Colts.
Mm-hmm. And then you already have, right? So that's 4. And then you already have
Bills, Steelers, and Chiefs.
Bills, Steelers, and Chiefs. That's 7.
And then the Titans are the division leader.
Right.
So you could have the Browns not even make the playoffs with a 10-win season.
That's what I'm saying. It's a certainty. It's locked in.
That is craziness.
Yeah. And then nuts with weeks to go still. Crazy. Dan Mitchell's toilet paper has somebody's handle on YouTube.
Stop.
I can't say that I've seen that one before. Welcome to the stream. Because they love to hate on us and deny us what we are owed. Being a Bills fan, it's about damn time. Right? Are we at the it's about damn time? It's about damn time.
We are at the LeBron, it's about damn time. Yes. We are definitely there. So, you know what? Everyone dropped their scores. We got what we're going to be doing. We will have our post game tomorrow after the game, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, you know what we're going to be here. Hopefully celebrating a Buffalo Bills victory over the New England Patriots, going 5-0 in the division, sweeping the Patriots for the first time since 1785. I'm not really sure when was the last time they swept the Patriots, but the point being is this. Joe, I don't think they're going to rest starters because they have the second seed at stake. If the Buffalo Bills win out and then the Steelers win out, Buffalo Bills and the Steelers will have the same record, but the Buffalo Bills hold the tiebreaker with the win over the Steelers. Make sure, like Daniel Gary says, you smash that like button. Paul,
don't forget, Miami's in a win and in scenario, right? If they win, they're in, and they got to play Buffalo. If you're Buffalo, do you want to rest your starters against Miami? Maybe you lose that football game, and then you have to play them in the first round. Is that the scenario you want? Because you can make that happen if you want to.
I don't even want to play them twice. I don't want to risk playing them 3 times.
Yeah, you really?
I don't even. You want to talk about the? I'm more scared of them than I am Kansas City.
Come on.
I am. You talk about cut from the certain cloth. a team that knows you, a team that goes against you, a team that you've seen multiple times, you get worried that this defense has been together for 50 games and people start to figure them out. What about a division rival that has seen you? Even though Allen has enjoyed a lot of his success against Miami.
It's a new coaching staff, Mar. Like, it's just a helmet.
They won 10 games, Paul.
I know. I get that. But you're saying, this team's been together it's a new coaching staff down there. So I'm not saying I disagree with you. I disagree. I'll happily play Miami because I know that I trust our receivers more than I fear their secondary. Is that understandable? Like, their secondary is scary.
Yeah.
But I trust our receivers more than I fear their secondary. That's why Miami doesn't scare me. Because nothing they do offensively scares me. Nothing they do offensively scares me at all.
Okay. I could see your point. I could definitely see your point. But I will say this. If this comes to fruition, if the Buffalo Bills, if Miami makes the playoffs and the Bills have the 2 seed, there's going to be a lot of ifs right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to put this is a very rare bet. Okay. Very rare bet. If the Buffalo Bills get the 2 seed, Miami is in the playoffs. If Buffalo Bills go to the Super Bowl, they will have a greater win margin versus Kansas City than they would against Miami. Like, if they beat Miami and then beat Kansas City to go to the Super Bowl, they will beat Kansas City by more than they'll beat Miami.
That's interesting.
If that comes to fruition, I'm buying a lottery ticket tomorrow. No, if that comes to fruition, I'll buy a lottery ticket. But the point is, I just think that just everyone that you see and you talk to and you play over and over again, you start to get tendencies that other teams won't get. And I understand that. But Miami, to me, is a bigger threat to Buffalo than Kansas City is, in my own opinion. I just think it is. I need a
Flores versus Reed. That's not a comparison. We stand on different sides of this, and that's fine. Yep. Luckily, the Bills just have to curb stomp the Patriots tomorrow, then all this is over with. And then we just have to worry about, how badly do the Bills want to beat Miami? And that's another thing, right? Is it even within this coaching staff's ability to not have character for battle, right? Like, you earn the right to win. Like, does it? No, I'm just saying, does sitting your starters even fit the character of this coaching staff?
Not one bit.
It doesn't, right?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't. I think that's probably that's a conversation for next week.
Yes.
But I don't know if this coaching staff has the character to be able to justify to their players that they get a week off. Yeah. I don't know.
But I give kudos to Flores because the moves they made in the offseason, they got multiple first-round young guys. They got their quarterback. They got a young quarterback who's on a rookie deal so they could allocate money everywhere else, and they put that money in the secondary. What does that tell you about the Bills? They weren't putting money in the secondary for the Patriots. They were doing it because of the Bills.
Well,
so Flores is ahead of the game in that respect.
Spin brings up a great point. Says they rested the starters last year.
Well, they couldn't improve their position.
Right. I think that's the difference maker.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, they weren't gonna go anywhere with their playoff seeding if they were the 5th or 6th seed last year.
Crazy Killer 30 says the Bills need to win to get the 2 seed. The Bills definitely have to beat the Patriots. And then if the Bills keep winning, they keep the 2 seed. That's the way that works.
That's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works. If the Bills win out, they keep the 2 seed. The Bills can lose one of these games and still retain the 2 seed, but you need a little bit of help. You need a little help from Pittsburgh. So
you do.
Yep. So it's there. It's there to lose.
Yeah.
But it's there to win. It's more likely they keep it than lose it, though.
Jordan Light, I just got in. What's up, gentlemen? What did I miss?
Oh, buddy, I'm so sorry. My condolences.
Yes, I am psyched for the playoffs. We're going to try to have some special treats for you guys when the playoffs roll around.
And again, for those hashtag heroes of All Pro and Hall of Fame, we will have an announcement coming up just for you guys. Again, all proceeds from our membership go to the Punt Foundation. Anything in the super chats goes directly to the Punt Foundation. So all those donations are happening in just a few weeks. So we're really excited to get all that in and over to Punt. So yeah, there you go.
Can't thank you guys enough. For Paul, I am Mario. This is hashtag sports. We'll see you after the Buffalo Bills beat the Patriots tomorrow. So,
ooh, that's daring. Listen to this guy.
You guys have a great evening. We'll see you.
All right. Later, guys.